everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and today we continue with the Bestiarum, a dive into the respective species of the Halo universe, and we continue with the Covenant Fringe. Major client civilizations had prominence in many respects, but the Covenant also maintained a number of species in the periphery, not totally bereft of value, but often lacking visible prominence. The Covenant's tangential holdings included the Fringe, a collection of civilizations that were held at arm's length by the Empire, exploited mainly for their strategic and infrastructural advantages. These species did not pose any immediate threat to the Covenant, and were ultimately moulded into forced labour or undignified utilitarian roles. Often, they were treated more like tools and instruments than fellow constituents. Most of the Fringe served only on their homeworld or in remote locations, far outside the purview of high charity, and even the lowest castes, operating under the supervision of Sanshaum executors and a local cortege of Kigyar enforcers. With the destruction of the Covenant, the fate of these disparate species is uncertain, though some believe that most will simply pick up where they left off. When the Covenant relic hunters aboard burgeoning fealty stumbled upon the ocean world of Rame, they discovered an incredible wealth of fauna treasures, one of the largest stockpiles ever encountered by the Empire. However, the bulk of this reliquary was contained within a network of sunken foreigner cities, all submerged far below the surface of the planetary sea that covered nearly every square kilometre of the massive world. Further still, these cities were inhabited by strange aquatic creatures. Known as the Dazreme, this enigmatic species had repurposed the fauna technology in incredible ways, creating a vast civilization that thrived within the depths. Covered in fine layers of placoid scales in a wide range of colorations, the Dazreme are strong, resourceful, and highly intelligent creatures, although the Covenant were unable to penetrate their history or medical science. Ranging in height from between 5 foot 6 inches and 7 foot tall, from 160 to over 200 centimeters, and a weight range of anywhere from 192 pounds to 467 pounds, or between 87 and over 200 kilos. The Dazreme's triple-hinged jaws, lined with needle-like teeth, betray their carnivorous appetites, with fin-like crests on their heads and gills running the length of their forward-jutting necks. The Dazreme up-armour their largely cartilage-based anatomy with adapted fauna alloys punctuated by the bones and teeth of other leviathan-sized aquatic species. Their tridactyl hands with opposable thumb-esque digit allows them to manipulate objects, and although an aquatic species, it is entirely possible their mastery of technology and reverse engineering of fauna technology could allow them to survive in environments not of aquatic origin. Eventually, the Sanshaum managed to broker an alliance with the Dazreme, leveraging their unique knowledge of fauna technology to ends still not fully understood. As time went on and more species were formally integrated into the Covenant, the Sanshaum went to great lengths to ensure that knowledge of the Dazreme and their world remained secret, including the practice of executing entire crews that had accompanied a prophet on a diplomatic trip to the planet. To only a handful were the coordinates known, and even those who simply knew of its existence spoke about it in hushed tones and far away from prying eyes of the Sangheli. Following the collapse of the Covenant and the scattering of the Sanshaum, the status of the Dazreme is unclear. A civilization native to the small moon of Yon, the Yonet are a small and clever biped species that have a proclivity for acquiring and transporting difficult to find items. When the Covenant initially came into contact with the Yonet, their lack of formal military and their meagre population ultimately meant that they had little value as full signatories in the Alliance. Their inherent talents in both trade and artifact hunting indicated to the Sanshaim missionary delegations that they might have merit in some form. Under the vigilant eyes of administrators, the Yonet were employed to scour abandoned worlds, plumb darkened shrines, and transport recovered relics among a myriad of other more crude tasks. The Yonet responded to the Covenant dogma with feigning devotion that was never questioned by the Sanshaim, despite their cynicism and occasional temerity. Due to the reallocation of the Covenant's resources to address the human problem, the Yonet were able to hide during much of the war, not simply because they held little value as warriors, but also because exploration and transport had become challenging. The Covenant's attention had shifted to war, so the Yonet began dispersing even well before the Alliance's collapse. With the Empire now gone, the Yonet have taken tentative steps onto the larger galactic stage. Bolstered by rapidly increasing opportunities for progress and profit amid the chaos of the Covenant's fallout, they have made contracts as traders, salvagers, and smugglers with the Alliance's splinter factions. Interaction between what remains of the Covenant and the Yonet has varied, with some seeing fit to elevate particular individuals to more trusted roles, while others merely exploit them through intimidation, coercion, and even slavery. Within the fringe elements of the former Covenant, no species was spoken about with more dread, fear, and caution than the mighty Sharqoi. Massive in size, these hulking beasts boast an impressive presence that dwarfs even the largest of the Covenant's client species, standing on average at 16 foot 4 inches or over 5 meters in height, and weighing in excess of 14,000 pounds, or just under 6.5 tons. They were nevertheless rarely seen even by the highest echelons of military leadership. The Sharqoi were only really employed in battle when absolutely necessary, since their presence often resulted in the decimation of their own forces as much as the enemy's. Unbeknownst to the Covenant, the Sharqoi's speed, power, and astonishing resilience, even against the Flood, led the Forerunners long ago to attempt to use them as weapons in the war with the Parasite, controlling them through a powerful instrument called the Vertex. Enormous bipeds standing on thick, trunk-like legs, Sharqoi are covered in grey, leathery skin spread taut over corded muscle, with 2 jagged bone spikes jutting out just above the hands, which can be used to inflict extraordinary damage. The Sharqoi possess a remarkable, bone-shattering grip, and bear extruded, razor-like teeth that can easily maim a victim when close enough. Perhaps their most unsettling feature is a prominent lump of bone that dominates their forehead like a single cyclopean eye, an organ used for echolocation and communication. Although relatively unintelligent as individuals, Sharqoi are able to collectively pool cognitive resources and function as a single entity, hordes of interconnected Sharqoi effectively operating as one, an aspect that makes them truly devastating. Following the fall of Reach, humanity began pooling resources and collating much of their military might in the Sol system for the defense of Earth. The Sanshaim were aware of this and intended to use the Sharqoi during the Battle of Earth, but fortunately for humanity, never got the chance to deploy them. This is just as well as following the end of the Human Covenant War, a single Sharqoi tore through and killed 50 out of 100 ODSTs that had been deployed to a remote world. And considering that a single Sharqoi can take a 50 caliber round to the head, or even a rocket launcher's M19 missile directly to the chest without dying, the fact that select members of Covenant leadership knew the location of hundreds of thousands of the creatures living within a sealed hive on the planet of Caro, a human colony conquered by the Covenant during the war, had they ever have actually been deployed against humanity on Earth, even with the aid of the Sangheli, it would have likely meant the extinction of humanity. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future content, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. It really does help the channel out significantly. Feel free to pop a comment below on anything you'd like me to cover next, and before signing off I just want to give a shout to my Patreon supporters, Spartan10148, my singular contender class Ancilla, Falcon, Jordan and Poseidon, the metarchs of my facility, Sylphia, Ashley, Esoteric, Spartan 1029 and Chris Allen, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legion, Labrat, Spartan 137, Chris, Element 0, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger Cult, Evermore's Personal Devil, Scion Esports and Saber, my diligent sub-monitors, my dominating fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. I can't thank you guys enough. Big props to my Tier 0 YouTube members, Spartan 137, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella and Jimbo, and all other YouTube members keeping the installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. And if you really love what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel via the links in the description. Much love, take it easy, and find peace in the domain.